talk about an earthquake that occurred in Mexico City in 1985. And a pastor was sitting at home and he was watching the footage of this earthquake. So vast devastation, incredible, unbelievable devastation. And the pastor was stunned by the extent of the damage, because the actual earthquake just lasts for a few minutes, but the devastation that it causes is unimaginable. And there was, as a result of these explosions, I mean, there were explosions and fires. All these were as a result of the earthquake. And then, on one corner of the screen appear the words "courtesy, sin," in capital letters. S-I-N, courtesy, sin. The letters S-I-N actually stood for Spanish International Network. Spanish International Network. But the pastor understood it in a completely different way, in the way God meant him to understand it. Because all the suffering in this world is a result of sin. So it was the Spanish International Network. But the pastor understood it as sin. Sin. And it took on a whole different meaning. And he realized that all the wreckage and the devastation and the pain and the shame and the horror that we endure in this life is all because of sin. All because of sin. Remember last week we were talking about how the doctor who fills up the death certificate, he has to write the cause of death. And from God's point of view, the cause of death is always sin. It's nothing else. So this is exactly what the pastor was thinking. Sin. Sin is the cause of all this. Okay. And so, when now to come back to the story of Ruth, we start off with Naomi. She's a clear picture of the backslidden Christian. Yes. The backslidden Christian. And many of us are in the same boat, have been in the same boat. And she gives her daughters-in-law some very poor advice. And, it says here, you should never listen to a backslidden Christian, because a backslidden Christian can never give you good advice. Never, ever. And this is what she said to them. She said, go back. Go back to your own home, to your own gods. Leave me and go, because staying with me is not a good idea. You've already lost your husbands and everything is a big mess, so go back. That's what Naomi tells them. So such advice is always flawed. It's always flawed. And this is a pivotal point in the life of Ruth. It's a pivotal point because she makes a conscious decision to follow the God of Naomi against the advice of Naomi. Just look at that. She makes a conscious decision to follow the God of Naomi against the advice of Naomi. Those words are, probably the most quoted lines from the Old Testament when in, 1:16, when Ruth tells Naomi, where you go, I will go, and where you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God.
Amen.
Words.
Hallelujah.
From the book of Ruth, 1:16. And so what we can understand is that it's always God who speaks to people's hearts. Naomi was telling them, go away. I'm bad luck. Don't associate with me. Go back. Start a new life. And God was talking to her. God was talking to her. So salvation always comes from God. Always comes from God. Against Naomi's advice. And so God calls all men to come to Him. All men to come to Him. And it's only a conscious decision on our part that can lead us to eternal salvation. Because God talks to us, talks to our heart, and it's only when we make that conscious decision that we step into eternal salvation. And so here we have Naomi, these two women. So Orpah, right? The other daughter-in-law was Orpah. Orpah listens to Naomi's advice. Ruth stays. And these two women, they have no husband, no means of support. They're financially bankrupt. They're financially bankrupt. And this is a further portrait of the sinner apart from God. The lost person is totally bankrupt.